Now we are recording, so everyone be on your best behavior. All right, so we will start with introductions with Dr. Delisle, who is your team leader. So let's go ahead and I am going to start the slideshow here and share the screen. Okay, Dr. Amanda Amy Delisle.
Hi, everybody. I know it's confusing that my name's Amanda on my email. I go by Amy. They wouldn't change it. So either one is fine. I just want to give you a quick rundown of some of my credentials. I was an RVT in the state of Texas from 2008 to 2014. Then they switched over to LVT and I was in vet school, so I just didn't get grandfathered in as an LVT. I was a high school vet science and FFA teacher, 2009, 2011. And that is actually where I first met Nye and his curriculum company. I was at a teaching conference in San Antonio. And that's when we just kind of began the conversation about developing some vet science curriculum. Then I came to my current institution that I'm at, Texas A&M University Commerce. And I just have to give a few additional sentences of explanation because everybody thinks they hear A&M and they think we're the mothership in College Station. We are a satellite school about an hour northeast of Dallas. We used to be East Texas State. So just so everyone's clear, I am not at the mothership. I have started a vet tech program here, but not a vet school. The A&M system would not allow that. So I got my master's in ag ed, minored in biological sciences. Then I went to vet school at St. George's University. I did my clinical year in Ireland. Then I moved to Hawaii and I started teaching at the vet tech program there. I was an adjunct professor. And then I got recruited to come back to my alma mater and start this 4-year Bachelor of Science vet tech program. And so that is my current role. I'm just a dog cat GP veterinarian, nothing fancy, but I do have much more of an educational background. So that's me.
All right, Dr. Delisle, and now we will introduce the KPPUBU support team. So my name is Nye, and I'm the founder and tech guru. I've been in education tech publishing for 22 years. Started my company a long time ago in the wonderful world of culinary arts and hospitality education. And that's basically the beginning of my story. Now, there's a lot more to my story. And if you want to read it all, it's actually on the website, which is a fun little adventure over the years. But needless to say, my focus is on gamification, artificial intelligence, and technology. And basically during the pandemic, and as you read probably in our correspondences, that we've created technology that actually worked in distance learning in a very difficult circumstance, and that led on to the conversation of, well, let's go ahead and get all of the people who we talked about building curriculum outside of the hospitality industry. And open up a whole new model for publishing, which is this whole entire idea of crowdsourced publishing. So I will conclude with that our team is here to support you. And we have Dr. Ian Jukes and Dr. Nikki Mohan here as well, who are our author experts, who will also give a short little introduction.
All right, so I'll introduce myself. I'm Ian Jukes. Hello, I'm talking to you from Vancouver. Classroom teacher, taught every grade from kindergarten through to grade 12, vice principal, principal, district coordinator, gifted and talented technology, provincial coordinator for distance technology and distance learning. I was a professor at the University of British Columbia for 5 years. I'm a consultant. I've worked in 80 countries around the world. I've made more than 12,000 keynotes and workshops. I'm the co-author of 27 books. And until the pandemic came along, I was on the road speaking about half of the year and speaking to 250 to 300,000 people a year. It's been a little quiet for the last little while. I think that's enough. I'll hand it off to Nikki.
Hi, I'm Nikki Mohan. As you can see from my description there, I am a global citizen by choice. Just a bit of my background as to why that's the case. I was born in South Africa, moved to New Zealand, and now I share my time between Canada and New Zealand when I'm not on the road presenting and working with educators. I am an educator first and foremost. Started off as classroom teacher and then became a deputy principal in New Zealand for a good few years. And then I moved to the business sector as learning and development manager, where we actually were, the government invested a lot of money to upskill the workforce. And I was very instrumental in that, in designing the national certificate in for industry training organizations from and private training organizations from automotive to culinary arts, vets, you name it. That was a program we designed because tutors and lecturers needed to have those specific qualifications in order to teach those courses, because we noticed there was their students were not as successful in certain areas. So while they were experts in the field, they needed pedagogical upskilling. That's the lecturers and tutors and trainers. I'm also an author. As I said, Ian wrote 27 books, but I always tease him that I wrote one book with him. I've written 5 books so far, and the one book that I co-authored with him was actually won the global award in the education category, and the other one of ours is the bestseller, that is Leadership 2020. So apart from that, I'm also a curriculum designer. I worked at the university as a leader in the math department, where we also designed a curriculum for the workforce as well, and for the education sector. I then moved. I said that I was, moved to the university. Currently, I am the director of InfoSavvy, which is a international consulting company in Canada. And Ian and I, together with a couple of other colleagues, we have co-founded the Springboard 21. And if you're interested in those organizations, that's also an international consulting firm, particularly with regards to auditing schools, universities, and other organizations. So if you're interested in those things, as I got it down there, if you want to get to know more about us, go to our Twitter, our websites, follow us on YouTube if you want to see our style of speaking and stuff like that. I am heading to Israel, where I'm the keynote speaker for the higher ed annual conference. So, my range is from juniors right up to adult education, because my master's is in particularly focused on adult education. So I'm quite, you could say, attuned to the way adults learn. And I think that's something we miss, because we always focus on pedagogy and not andragogy or heterogogy as we're moving into. So I'm quite mindful when doing professional development with the adults and with teachers and educators, because we forget that they are also learners at the same time. So enough from me. I'm really excited about this project because I have worked with writers previously, with international writers, where we designed curriculum for K to 12 though. So this is really something that I'm super, super excited and so pleased to meet you guys, and absolutely looking forward to collaborating.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you, Nikki. So just kind of let you know that this is the this is our meet and greet. So we do want you to chime in if you have any questions throughout the process. Basically, we're going to give like a very short overview of the entire process, just kind of talk through it. I know you've already read about some components of it, so we just kind of want to reinforce that here. But also, we want to get to know you a little bit more, and also and basically, find out what your thoughts and feelings are about this whole entire process this opportunity here. So basically, we'd like to give a little a chance to welcome the vet and ag team here. So we consider you as the founding members. So as founders, you guys will be able to set a lot of these ideas and motions, set the foundation, but also make a lot of the key decisions about how this will work. So because you've shown initiative, you've shown enthusiasm and excitement, you guys will basically strike gold first, because as we feel that once we prove this model and go further and beyond, that there will be more people wanting to come on board, but you guys can say you're the first, and you get a lot of perks because of that. So thank you very much for that. So now I'm going to go into introductions for each one of you, though. So there's 6 of you here. So try to keep it as short as possible, 30 to 60 seconds, if that's possible. But I am going to show the following slides of the people who signed up. So basically these are the people who signed up but may or may not be here. So if I get to your name, go ahead and unmute yourself and then give a little talk about that. But this was just kind of like for the recording per people who are watching us. You can see this is Nicholas Raimondi. I have to get really good at pronouncing names now. So this is his basic background credentials, and we're very excited because all the people who signed up have had a lot of experience. So because of this, the collaborative process, we are going to create something absolutely amazing. All right, next we have Dr. Christina Tran. So here you are.
Hi, everyone. I go by Tina. Sorry, I'm just like reading my slide to see what it says. I guess really quickly, I live outside of Phoenix, Arizona. I'm currently on faculty at University of Arizona's Veterinary School, helping with a team to put together the final year, the clinical rotation schedule for our students, because they go out into practices for their rotations, unlike a lot of the legacy schools where they have teaching hospitals. Small animal practitioner, also a little bit of shelter medicine background. I'm also in some early conversations with another entity about gamification and other types of interesting ways to kind of get students excited about learning about veterinary medicine, both as technicians and as veterinary students. So that's it. Did I make the time limit?
You are well under, and also include a little snippet about like what you're excited about this.
Oh, okay.
And what do you think is going to happen? I guess.
No, so I honestly think open sourcing is the way that things are going to go. I mean, it's already kind of headed that way outside of veterinary medicine, so I'm excited to see that happen within veterinary education. It gets me excited to think about, I think I tend to be very US centric, but, kind of what does veterinary education look like across the world, and what is the role that I can play in that? So that's what gets me really excited about it.
Awesome. And I'm sorry to hear that you're a Wildcat, go Sun Devils. There we go. We have a little rivalry here. All right, Dr. Elizabeth West. Is she in the bill? No, I don't see her name, but this is what she basically wrote on her introduction. So there we go. Then we have Haley Mass. There we go.
Hi, yeah, it's Haley Moss. It's weird.
Sorry.
So yeah, I'm a licensed veterinary technician since 2014, but I started in veterinary medicine in high school in 2010, just thrown into the folds, doing whatever I could. So I do have a bachelor's in veterinary technology. So I worked at the same small animal practice through high school and college. But then I got kind of branched out, and once I graduated college, I worked in an emergency hospital in specialty hospital for several years. I've kind of dabbled in a little bit of large animal, working in stockyards and cattle farms and things like that. So I kind of have I like all animals, so I don't mind to dabble in all of the above. But I have left mostly general practice. I still work part-time in general practice to teach a veterinary assistant program. So I'm the program director of a pretty small veterinary assistant program that's only been around for about 2 years now. And we've graduated 5 classes now. So we're slowly but surely growing our numbers. So I'm really excited to be able to pick the brains of people who've been in education a lot longer than I have, but also be able to provide a lot of background that I have kind of dabbled in a lot of different places and worked in a lot of rural communities and kind of bring that perspective into education. So that way we better prepare students from all areas to be ready to go into the field. I think that's a really good idea to kind of take all of our group experience to better prepare our students for the field.
Awesome. Thank you, Haley. Here we have next is Leanne Petco Cow. Sorry if I butchered your name.
Okay. The best way to pronounce is pet cow. It's
cow.
the easiest and people like it as a vet, so it works.
I like that.
Oh, do you want me to go ahead?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you're up.
Okay, so I'm up. All right.
And you're
So
just stuck, so I don't know if that's going.
no.
Yeah, well, we have at least your image, so we don't have you animated. But...
Okay. Can you hear me though?
Yeah, we could hear you.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
perfect. Oh, perfect. Okay. So I graduated in 2009. I spent a lot of my time in emerge med and kind of like an urgent care type practice. And then decided to pursue education. So I'm at the Polytechnic College in Manitoba, Red River College. I managed to get my certificate in adult education in 2020. I am looking into getting my bachelor's of adult education, but that's something that's kind of an ongoing project. When I was a vet student, I actually did manage to publish one paper. It's not a great paper, but it's still out there. It's still published. It's interesting enough. I run the surgical labs at the technical college and some of the hematology and parasitology labs. My big, strong passion is updating everything. I kind of came in when there were a lot of people who started the program but were here for 20, 30 years and did the same thing again and again. So just getting the program up to date with technology and really encouraging that new education way of thinking, incorporating games. Gamification is really strong passion of mine as well. And so that's what I'm really excited about here, is just to get to know people, get to learn from all of your wealth of experience as well, and see how we can best help our students.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Dr. Petcow. I really like the way that you pronounce your name. All right, next we have up is Kimberly Martin. And there we go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm not using my computer. We got kicked out of our school, so they're redoing all of our floors and stuff. So I've had some technical difficulties. My name is Kimberly Martin, and I've been an ag science teacher actually for 7 years. I guess I miscounted when I was doing the thing. My degree is in animal science from Sam Houston State University, and I graduated. Originally had planned to go to vet school, but then decided to go the ag science teacher route. So our curriculum here in Texas what we have available to us is very minimal. And so I'm excited to be a part of this so that I can bring newer, better materials back to my students. We're working on industry-based certifications a lot in our school. We're trying to move our school to being a career tech school. I teach at Wills Point High School, which is a kind of rural area. It's growing. It's east of Dallas. And so a lot of that is moving towards us. And so we're wanting to provide our students with as many career opportunities as possible. And so that's why I really wanted to be a part of this.
Awesome. That's really exciting. And, we definitely need your perspective in this team as well. So very good. All right. Now we have Elizabeth Warren.
Hi there. So I'm an LVT in Texas, and I teach in a certified veterinary assistant program at Austin Community College and have so since 1999. And so one of the things that I've seen over the years is that textbooks are problematic. They're very expensive. As soon as you get one, basically it's already dated. And so that's been a challenge for, forever, for as long as I've been teaching, is how to make sure that the students have current materials to study with. And so, the idea of shifting everything to a format that can be just constantly updated is very interesting to me. So I didn't put it on the application or the information form, but one of the things that I worked on, I guess it's probably a decade ago now, is with the online community veterinary support personnel network, which is part of VIN, or the Veterinary Information Network. We did a thing called the VSPN notebook, which was supposed to be sort of like that. It would be living documents that you could take in and then replace in an actual physical notebook. And so we got the original notebook put together, and it turned into a very huge endeavor that never really went beyond like the first several iterations. But that was the sort of the first time that I worked on something like this, where it's collaborative and it's constantly evolving and changing. And so that's very exciting to me.
Yeah. And thanks for bringing that perspective as well, because in my line of work, over the 20 years that I've been doing this, I've seen a lot of these initiatives start, and they always had a great idea,
Right.
but the problem is there was no support structure. There was no the problem was like no financial incentive as well, and basically, great ideas can only live on fumes for so long before it dies off. So what we've done is we create a sustainable model, and we'll go into more in depth. But also, I like the fact that one of the key points is that it is always up to date. We will always be the most current, and that's what the team is all about, is making sure that it's always current, relevant, and exciting at the same time. Because these kids, they need a lot of excitement to keep them going. All right, let's move on to Skylar Lampart. Okay, let's see here. There we go, S. Lampart.
Hello. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. So I have my bachelor's, master's, and specialist all in ag education and education leadership. And I'm currently working on my doctorate in P20 community leadership. And then I did get STEM certified this year, which has helped with this, vet tech, ag science in general. It's kind of what we do. And it just kind of adds a new way of teaching things to the kids through engineering and stuff like that. So I just finished my 4th year teaching middle school. I teach middle school ag education, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So I teach the younger kids about this type of stuff, and we're normally left out of everything. Everything is normally 100% geared towards, a lot of times, even 11th and 12th graders, not even like the younger kids, but to get kids interested in stuff like that, sometimes the best time to catch them is in middle school. And since I became a feeder program for our high school, it just really, I think adding in middle school insert into it would be like really awesome for the kids to be able to learn, and then also be able to just kind of bring it to them. Does that make sense? I teach in Georgia. I'm in middle Georgia, like smack dab in the middle. If you throw a pin in middle Georgia, it'll probably hit my town. And I think that's it.
All right. Well, that's awesome, Skylar. Very excited that you signed up, and you're able to offer your perspective, because you're right. Your pathway, it is a pathway, and it's important to know that it doesn't start at 11th grade. It starts well before that, and if we're able to provide a solution for your grade levels, all the better, because and it's great that you're here to represent that as well.
Well, I'm just going to chime in there, Skylar. I am with you 120%, because you get the most out of the middle graders. They at that stage between like independent and not so independent, but they're so innovative and and imaginative, and they come up with things that you just cannot imagine. And going the STEM way, I'm just so excited that you are in this program, because I think it's fantastic, honestly.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right, now we're moving on to Meredith Arlington, which I don't see on the list here. So this is Meredith's little bio. So, and has chicken and goat raising experience. All right. So Meredith, we will look forward to meeting you. Caitlin Caldwell is also not present, but here's her slide and her information. And then we have Veronica King, who very recently signed up. So there we
The
go.
thing that really strikes me is this is amazing. What a collection of diversity here. I'm really sincerely looking forward to this. There's so many different perspectives here, and I feel humbled by you guys. Holy mackerel.
You know, I posted on multiple different Facebook groups that I'm on as a veterinarian and a veterinary educator, and I cast a really wide net, and I'm so excited about who I caught in the net.
That's awesome, because you guys, have such a wealth of knowledge, and you're experts in your field. We're just going to, work with you guys and, support you in the experience that we have from an educational perspective, author perspective, curriculum designer perspective. And, we're not going to get into your field of expertise as vets. I mean, animals and I just don't get on. And seriously, working with you guys is amazing. It doesn't matter what the subject area, but it's just our experiences, collective experience and knowledge that we can bring together. Because as I said, you are the knowledge experts here. You have all the content material. You are the experts in your field, and that's we don't, what we're going to do is take that and turn it into something so amazing to share with our other colleagues around the world. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So now we're going to go into kind of like the overview, and this is your chance to ask any questions as we're going through the process. So you've already read about it at certain, probably on the website or in different parts of the our correspondences, but I want to start with our entire mission is to basically put the power in your hands, and as you've all described, you have seen it, you have a desire to make change, and you guys are here to do that, because probably hundreds of people looked at Dr. Delisle's post and they said, I don't know about that, but you guys are the ones who said, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this. And the best part is
and that says something, because it's, we all want change. We all say, we wish this could be it. This needs to be changed and that needs to be changed, but nobody actually puts their hand up to do it. And I just absolutely applaud you for actually giving up your time to do something like this. That's amazing, because this is what we want. We want people that are actually wanting to do that, wanting to share their experiences. So awesome. I'm just going to absolutely applaud you.
Yeah, applause sign language style, which I learned during lockdown. There we go. Let's see, and actually the most important thing that philosophically that I believe in is sharing the wealth, because and we're going to kind of talk about the way that obviously you've seen with the publishing world, they're very greedy bastards. so and with what Elizabeth shared about creating these OER content, all these altruistic models, without support or backing or any kind of financial incentive, then those great ideas also fall apart as well. So we're basically blending the two worlds and making it better. All right, so here we're gonna go quickly over the overview. We don't need to go into any depth on this, but if you have any questions during any of these slides, just feel free to unmute yourself and yell at me. This is fully interactive, and I like being yelled at, so let's go ahead. All right, so the first step is that when we talk about the process is we're building the outline where we research the standards and competencies all across the United States, and we also have Canada represented on our team as well, because what we want to do is we want to make sure that we satisfy the standards. Now, Dr. Delisle has actually built an initial outline, but it's not. It is a organic process, and we'll show you that. We also
2010. So
yes.
it's from 2010, so it definitely needs updating.
Well, yeah, it needs updating. So that this, the first step for everyone on the team is that you will go through this process of identifying all the standards, the competencies. Any media assets will also be identified as well, and then we look at product segmentations and timeframes, because the way that we build curriculum is we could do it in segments. So there could be a middle school version, there could be a Georgia version, there could be a whatever version, there could be like all these different levels. It doesn't have to be like a textbook where you have to get everything done all at once and then hit the publish button and then go to print. The process can be organic, and you as a team can decide, we have 8 objectives and we're going to tackle these 2 first, and then start building on that as well. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example of an outline. So I'm going to show you the example from that was done in culinary arts. Basically, this is the framework that kind of started my process and my company. So these were all the standards that were identified. First thing we did was we looked at all the textbooks and see what they had. So because if they have it, then we kind of know that that's important. Then we looked at every state and then identified their standards, and then came up with a kind of like a master hit list that you can see here as I'm scrolling through it from all the different things. So from that basic outline, then we went into more in depth. So so one of the sections was history. Then we had the standard examine the history, and then we had all these substandards as well. So you can see here, this is basically, we started out with a cursory review, and then we went more in depth, and then eventually this turned into the pages of content, which I'll show you later when we get into the program. Now, here is an example of what Amy has done, or Dr. Delisle, sorry, and you can see that she's already built the basic frameworks. This is just one of 6, and so you could kind of start with this and then build upon that as well. So you will have a foundation to work off of and debate over and review. Okay, so that's what we start with, what we call the outline process. And this is probably the most important part, because this framework, it will kind of like give you the roadmap moving forward, because after this, then it's all about like we saw here in culinary arts, is just filling the buckets. Like, okay, what do we need to do about tackling the concept controlling pests, for example, or garbage disposal. So then you just start filling the buckets and then satisfying those needs. Excuse me, I need to mute myself. I mean, not mute. Let's go ahead and you'll probably spend a little bit of time as a team working on that part. Then the next most important thing is we identify existing assets. So all of you have had lots of experiences. Elizabeth, you've worked on projects where you built within their frameworks before. So we look at what you've already done, and then and see what can be incorporated into the framework initially, because why reinvent the wheel if you've already done videos, if you've already written chapters, and I don't think anyone wrote a book here, but articles and whatnot, then those things can be repurposed and incorporated as that in the labs you've created, activities, resources. So you start to pull together, kind of like a list of works, and then from there, you start. Why is it moving forward so fast? You start to assign the sections. Okay, I don't know why it's moving so fast. Then you look at the different chapters and you say, okay, this is my strengths. I want to tackle handling pests or something like that, so to speak. And then you start to look at the different aspects of the outline, and you say, okay, this is what I'm really passionate about. I really want to take on that chapter. So that you can start to, I guess, claim certain sections. Then we look at second tier recruitments. So you guys are the founding team, but you might not have all the expertise to satisfy all the different objectives. So then that's when you could go out and start to recruit people online through your networks and your social media and whatnot, and get more people involved. Now, these secondary people, will be able to come in, but they will have pretty much far less decision-making abilities, because you guys have already made the decisions for them. So basically you're just tapping them for their expertise in that sense. And then you identify any specialists. So if there's something that requires some really intense specialty things, then we might not need to come up with a special arrangement for them. Like, let's say they're the leading expert on this one particular method and they're the only ones, then we want to talk to them. Then we have also authoring support services throughout this whole process, which we'll go into a little bit later. That's what myself, Dr. Jukes, and Dr. Mohan will provide. And then the final stages we're going to incorporate into the KP framework, which is basically this digital platform that does all these bells and whistles. Then probably the most important question that comes to mind, I know that a lot of you came here altruistically because you want to make change, but the other thing is, you'll also make money at the same time. So first off, we read that some of you have already had publishing experience. So what was your experience like with what you've done? Anybody here that's actually done that? Anybody? Nobody?
I could talk all day about it, but
Yeah, we'll get to you.
you know,
We'll see if anyone else has any experience with publishing or getting paid to write stuff or create stuff. None? Okay. Well, so
Elizabeth, did you get paid to help the VSPN stuff?
Yeah, no.
No, you did not get paid?
I figured that out.
No, all volunteer.
Oh,
yes, and actually,
And that's the way it goes, actually.
Yeah.
it is very common for teachers to volunteer their services for to have credits in a book. So basically that's the trade-off. It's like you could say I contributed to this. So the publishers are performing highway robbery in a sense, because that's what they do. All right, so the industry standard for copyright and royalties is basically in a lot of cases, well, in some cases, they pay you earn a royalty check, a stipend, or whatever, or maybe a percentage, which is relatively low, and then they own your work. So what we're doing here, we're doing almost we're breaking the mold and doing the kind of like the opposite, saying that we are not going to own your work. You will individually own your own copyright. So that means if you don't like how things are with KPPUBU, you can say I'm out of here and move on to something else. So that gives you a lot of autonomy and power. So that basically, you will make the best decision for yourself and also for the team as well. So we're not going to dictate anything. We're not going to say this is the way it has to be done. We're just going to say do the best that you can, because you're all representatives of your own industry. So you better represent well. But the other thing is with royalties, it's also very different. So in a typical fashion, and Ian has been published for a very long time. The royalties
A very long time.
very, very minimal to authors. So especially in education publishing, what is the norm for, let's say, a like Pearson or some other company would say, hey, would you like to be an author in this book, and we're going to pay you what percentage of net sales?
You want an answer to that? So typically, it's anywhere between 5 and maybe 10% 1 year after the end of what's fiscal. In other words, the book's published, and you get your royalties a year later. And the difficulty with it is that they're counting the books, and you have no idea how things are going until a year on down the road. There's another point I was going to make. Oh dear, where it went. Anyways.
Yeah, but I think maybe also adding to that, Ian, would be the process is very different. Yeah, it's not like they approach you, even if they do like shoulder tap you to do some stuff, you still have to go through the protocols and the process that they have, which is very rigid. Submitting a proposal to start off with, and then that goes through a process, and that gets accepted. The whole thing, by the time your idea actually gets down on paper, it's 2 years gone. And where things have evolved so rapidly. I mean, we made huge changes with the way we published books recently, and we had to have huge battles with them where we said, you're putting these things in books, you are putting references. We want to make our references live. We want people to be able to click on this and be able to get to our references. And we want to change as new research comes aboard and stuff like that. So that was a big change we made in the way we were as authors getting published with Cohen and Solution Tree and all of that. So, and also the royalties. I mean, don't think, we publish so many books that you actually get a lot of money. It's very little when it comes down to it. I mean, that 5% is after they deduct all their expenses, then you get 5% of that royalty. And they own the copyright exactly. To get that released is another huge process.
So if you want to calculate what you're going to make in a traditional setting, working with a Corwin or a Solution Tree or whoever, you're probably making 10 cents an hour.
That's generous, I'd say, yeah.
Okay. And the other thing that's really important for you to understand is that in the traditional setting, they own it. So in a recent book that we wrote, we had Steve Wozniak, who's the co-founder of Apple, write the foreword for us. And the publishing company told Steve Wozniak that all of his ideas that were in the foreword now belong to them. At which point he told them where they could shove it. And so the model we have here is a far more democratic model, and I think a far more profitable model for the writers than the model that most people go through.
But also, it's just not like the dollar value. I also think because you guys are here, there are things that you want to do. And I hate, emphasizing the word want to make a difference, because I think sometimes we do want to do some traditional things. We do want to teach. We do want to upskill. So those are things that we want to do, but how we do it. And we're not even going to get into the visuals of things. How hard is it to do they embed a video in a static book? No, but this is going to be just amazing where you can embed videos. Yeah, make it really interactive. And what about color? We wrote a book, which was the award-winning book actually, and a chapter there was on the use of color, like how important that is for reading and for people to take in information. And what do? They publish that in black and white. We
Yeah.
are specifically at least do that because, it's cheaper to do that. We ask them specifically to publish that, at least that chapter in color. And so this is just little minor examples. We can go on and on and on.
Yeah.
So this model here, I think, is going to be just so modern, something that not only we as teachers want to pick up, but also our students would want to look at it. So I
Mhm.
think it's amazing.
Yeah, so we only wanted to spend a few minutes on this painting the horror story, because a lot of people don't understand that it is, and that's why a lot of people don't go into publishing, because it is a horror story. So and this is something that's never been done before, and very new, and we're going to make it work, and you're all a part of this wonderful journey. But the beauty of this entire process is you own your work. We're not going to own you, and,
Right.
and the more you contribute, the more you earn, and royalties. Because what our end goal is to take the things that you produce, sell it to schools, universities, homeschoolers, anybody who wants to learn. But also our mission is to I can't remember who say this, but like the textbooks are out of date and way overpriced because they have they're so top heavy, and bloated, that we could do things a lot less expensively, and we could keep the price down so that everyone's win. So our entire aim is to disrupt the model that's currently out there, with something entirely new, and also get rid of the bloat at the same time.
Yeah, I think it was Elizabeth. That's a good point you touched on now. It was Elizabeth that brought up the point where before the book is published, it's actually outdated. And that's why I said, because the process takes so long. And then you give students, oh yeah, this is your compulsory reading for this course, this is version whatever. And then next year that book, they can't even resell that book because it's outdated. There's another version. So yeah, we can just easily here insert new information, take out the old, and done.
All
And
right.
I know this is probably true in a lot of fields, but veterinary medicine changes so fast. Like a textbook that we try to teach with, even if it's brand new, is outdated because the medicine's constantly evolving and changing. So I
Yeah.
really like the idea of being able to adapt things quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you don't have to make change to the whole book, like reprint, just that particular section, put in the new research, done.
Yep. And we're very responsive in that sense. Okay, so any questions about royalty and copyright? Because this, well, we feel like that this is a point of contention, or not, or everyone's happy with the way it is. All right, great. I'm excited. So then, so the next thing is we want to say that you will also be the future leaders of KPPUBU. So right now you're working on the vet team, but you're also going to be learning our process, learning our entire model. And that will also give you the opportunity to then become leaders in other disciplines. Like, you might go into automotive or into other fields, because you can say, hey, I could be a leader, even though this is not my subject area. And then you will then be a leader of those areas. And then you can earn royalties in other disciplines as well. So if you want to, and other opportunities come up, and we say, hey, you'll be the first one to say, hey, Haley, would you like to lead the team on
Voting, the voting. Yeah, and it's also, that's an important point. It's the process. It's not the content. The content will come and go. That'll change different disciplines, but it's the process that you are the first to go through it.
Yes, indeed. So think about this as as future opportunities as well, or you might just be happy just to working on this. So the vast majority of the work will be done through Google Drive. So is everyone here familiar with Google Drive? I would assume so. So obviously we don't have to point out the benefits of it. We could share documents, work on peer review opportunities. There's history, there's redundancy, and it's better than working with files. So basically that's how we're going to be facilitating all the work. So shortly after this meeting, we're going to be sharing with you a Drive folder where basically I'll be the repository where we're going to put everything about this project. Okay. All right. So the next most important aspect is about communication. So I say no email because we find that email is the least effective methodology for communicating, especially within a team. I've worked with other teams before where you have people from all over the different backgrounds, and we basically say no emails, absolutely not, because once you send an email, you don't know if it's going to the right people, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many different problems with email. Text messages are also are not the best method as well, because just direct, unless if we do like a group chat or something like that. So what we want to do is come together as a team and find out what is the best methodology for communicating within yourself. So like Dr. Delisle tossed the idea of creating a Facebook group. She just can I have like a Facebook communication channel as well, which is actually acceptable if everyone is on Facebook. That's the only contingency. But there's also other collaboration tools that I don't know if any of you have ever experienced before, such as Slack, Discord, Trello. I mean, there's tons of them out there, but all those different methodologies are better than email. So I want to kind of like open the channel up to you guys and find out what you're familiar with and just kind of hear from your experience really quickly here. Anybody?
We use at our school, we use Google Spaces a lot, or Google Chat, and it works pretty well. I've also used Facebook groups a lot in my general practice, and I like it as well. Just anything that makes it easy to send a quick message or anything like that, I'm pretty flexible. But those are the two I've had the most experience with.
Okay. Anyone else?
I've used Discord before and we really liked it. I have a group of friends that teaches ag all over the country, so we've kind of used Discord to put all of our stuff when we need something or need help with something. So I know Discord is really well. And then we've used something called Band. It's more like a texting group. We use that a lot for like our chapter stuff. And anyone can comment on it if you're above 13, which I'm assuming we all are. But so that would be a really good one too if we wanted like a specific like messaging one rather than something to put stuff in. But you can put some things into Band as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, awesome.
I think that the most important thing is that we have to agree on the platform we're going to use for communication, because otherwise it'll just be absolutely
we're gonna find
chaotic.
out what's common with everyone. So, and I just want to hear what everyone's experiences are, because we kind of want to build off of that. Elizabeth, you're up next.
So I can say that I've used Microsoft Teams, and I do not want to use Microsoft Teams.
Oh my God. No.
Yay!
We got Kitty.
I think the difference here is that we want this, and I think it's good to make that distinction, that we're going to use Google Drive for the documents itself, like the whatever we create, the materials, but for just quick communication, like how do we say, let's meet, or are you available certain time?
Mm-hmm.
I just sent you, I uploaded this new document. Can you please have a look and comment or give me some feedback? So I think this is just for quick thing. I'm not on Facebook, so that's not going to work. I think I'm one of the only very odd ones that I have not yet been on Facebook. So
yeah. So
and I don't intend to.
Very good. Yeah, and nobody likes Teams, so we're not going to definitely not going to use Teams or anything like that. Okay, so I think I saw, was it Tina that was unmuted? Yes.
Yeah, I was just going to add that I have the most experience using Slack as a quick communications tool. I like it because you can add attachments, links, you can have DMs, and you can do group. So works pretty well.
Very good. And anyone else? Leanne?
I've used Facebook and Discord in the past. I'm open to trying something like Slack as well. As long as it's not Teams, I'm pretty happy.
Okay. Yeah. So just kind of let you know, I've had experience with multitudes, and Slack and Discord actually run very similar to each other, which I like, because you can create channels, and you'll have a history of communication as well. So that, so that's the whole entire thing. It's like, it's something that you check, and it's something that doesn't get lost. Like email gets lost, or horrifically lost very easily. In fact, when Dr. Delisle sent out the emails to everyone, her university email went directly to spam, I think 100% of the time. So you would think that the university email would be less prone to that, but it seems like they're red flagged even more. So basically we're just only talking about this because we just want to come up with a reliable model that everyone uses. So and that's something that you guys can kind of like work out on your own. But my vote is either Slack or Discord, which are two very awesome and easy to use tools for communicating. So
we'll let our team leader make that choice and just let us know.
yes.
I'm going to be working on creating a doodle poll and some other polls just to kind of get, some more information. So I'll make a separate one, or I'll add this to one of the, like the doodle poll for the time of the next meeting. And then, some surveys for, areas of interest, types of communication, curriculum already existing, those kinds of things.
All right. Very good. Now, okay, so I'm going to kind of go over a little bit about the platform to kind of show you what it's all about. This will probably take about 5 minutes, if that's okay with everyone. And because I don't want to go in depth, because we were going to have we have videos and other things that already demonstrate. But I just kind of want to highlight some of the more important things that make the program much more enjoyable for the student. So I just kind of show you. So this is like a student's login, and we have 2 classes that the student's taking. So we're just going to pop into the ServSafe certification. So over here we have forms contaminants. Let's just take a look at that. We have here's the learning objectives that you see here, and the content pages is basically like so. So this will be kind of like the format that you guys will be modeling after, but you're not limited to this as well. It's also done using responsive design, so it looks like this, but it'll also look fine on a cell phone, on a tablet, and it adjusts accordingly, like such. So you can see that there's a lot of dead space here. That's because on a phone it'll look differently than on screen, etc., etc. But I do want to show you the one of the more the key features of our platform is our what we call check your knowledge. And basically you can think of this as engaging with like a tutor. So this is what we call our digital tutor. And when a student clicks on this, they're going to be taken to a quiz, and the tutor will quiz them on every one of these topics here. It uses AI to figure out what questions to give the student, how many times they've engaged the tutor and whatnot. So there's a lot of adaptive process in there. And what happens is the tutor will then give the feedback based on how they perform. So here we say you've mastered this page on parasites, so good job, return a green. These are the ones that you need to go back and revisit, and you did terrible on food allergen and prevention. So this gives you like a more personalized learning, so you can figure out where you need to spend your time studying. And when you re-engage with the tutor again, the tutor will ask questions about everything except for parasites, because you've already done that. In fact, if we go back, you can see that parasites is not even on the list because it's been remediated out. And that's the entire point of this exercise, is that we learn best through repetition and remediation, but remediation is the last thing students want to do, unless if you make it a little more engaging, more precise, and more exciting. So I just kind of wanted to kind of show that there's a lot more to talk about with the AI and gamification. Here we have pictures of our of that students can level up. There's actually a world travel component that's built into it that makes learning a little more exciting, and there's also a lot of other things that we've done as part of gamification, such as earning badges. So like if I come over here, we have a project on producing a Food Network show, and they can earn this badge, and this is their progress to the badge, and they could interact and ask questions. So these are all the things that are available to you as a team to build into, and these are things that we're going to go over in greater depth later on, because as a team, you're going to be building assets, but we're also going to be taking you through the process. So we have okay, let's go. Why is it keep doing that? Anyway, so basically we will be taking you through what we call a KP production course as well. So we're not going to just throw you blindly and say, hey, create stuff and things like that. So like we said earlier, we have a process, we have steps that will be taken along the way, so that you're not just building blindly. So the outline was the first thing that we give you as an objective, but then moving forward, we're going to give you additional pointers, tips, and kind of like take you through a learning journey as you guys are building this program out. This entire journey, we're anticipating that it will take, we're going to go over a span of 2 months, so that from beginning to end, we'll have a product ready to show our friends, family, and the world, and then be able to use in the classroom. So within this production course, we're going to give you support services all along the way. We're going to provide you a intake survey to kind of get to know you as an author, as a writer, a little bit more, to kind of know, well, just like what you would do with a new class of students. You kind of want to get to know them a little bit more if you're working with them more intimately, so that we can tailor things better to your needs. We're also going to provide individual mentorship as well. So if you need additional help, we're here for that. And Dr. Mohan is also going to be providing twice a month seminars that will be available to the team and other members of KPPUBU throughout this whole process, so that you'll also gain some professional development. Would you like to speak a little bit about the seminars that you have planned for us in August?
Yeah, this will be general pedagogical stuff, and if you're interested, come join in. It's some of the examples would be, and this is in keeping with the a modern learning organization. So it's about how do we the mindset, how do we shift our minds from the traditional thinking. Then we talk about the critical skills. How do you integrate that into your teaching practice? We look at goal setting, how to give feedback and feed forward, reflection, how to reflect. This not only helps your practice as a teacher, but also personally. So some just good ideas, 1 hour, short, sharp, snappy, take away 1 or 2 things. We probably set about 3 outcomes for that day, but if you can take away 1 thing and use in your practice, that's fantastic. We'll give you time to share stuff and some time for questions. So it's really, very interactive, but also very what you can say, like closed. We don't have too many people at that. We're hoping not to. We just want to have few people, but get to know each other and get things done. Yeah.
Think of it as like workshops, and then just like a seminar. So like you could view and watch webinars till you're blue in the face, but if what we're trying to do is provide something more interactive, more personalized to the participants, to basically give enrichment opportunities as well. And finally, we will also provide editorial support for you as well when it comes to the writing process. Okay, and like I said earlier, what our goal is, since we're doing this as a crowdsourced collaborative process, is to have a product ready to go in about a span of 2 months. And if you feel like that's too rapid, it's actually very attainable, especially when people are working collaboratively. When you're working by yourself, obviously that's going to be a different process. But the thing is, like, if we take and the thing is, we're also going to set a goal that's achievable in 2 months as well. So we're not going to try to tackle the entire kitchen sink, so to speak. So part of the outline process is we have 6 outlines, but we might say only 2 of them are attainable in 2 months, and the other ones will be done later. So then that's basically the goal for the process. And as peers, one of the best parts about this collaborative process is that you're responsible for each other, and you also review each other's work. So we feel that that will increase the quality of all outputs because we're working together. We're gonna set up milestones. And like Dr. Delisle said, you're going to come up with your next team meeting. Some of you were teaching, so couldn't make it to today's meeting, but you're watching this recording. Thank you very much. And we're also going to provide additional support, like I've said earlier. So here's kind of like a little snapshot as to what Dr. Delisle thinks the next steps will be, is to review the content outline, then form any specific groups that need to be done within that outline, revise the standards, and anything else you want to add to this?
Yeah, so because we do have such a wide variety of different people, we've got a lot of different possible pathways, just starting to identify, okay, like who will be best working on the junior high curriculum, who will be best working on the high school vet assistant versus the veterinary technician. Like we've got multiple different levels and multiple different options. So just us coming together and saying like, this area is where I have the most knowledge and expertise, and here's the curriculum I already have ready to go. So, I think one of the most important things is figuring out who's got some stuff that's pretty ready to go. Also, what is the current industry need? Like for those who are teaching in high school, the vet assistant, the vet tech programs, like what do you need sooner rather than later? What are teachers going to buy for this upcoming school year? And how much curriculum do we collectively have to fill that need? Like if, for example, like a urinalysis, right? Like high school teachers are really not able to hit that TEAG, get those things taught. Let's provide that curriculum, something like that. And we can have it on multiple different levels, the vet tech, the vet assistant, the junior high level, but just figuring out what are the, what do teachers need and what do we have? What are our strengths coming into this? And then groups will just be created from there. Like, I don't know, I can't anticipate what those groups will look like. It'll be collaborative.
Yes, and you use this very specific term TEAG, which people outside of Texas do not understand, which is basically the Texas standards.
Educational standards. For the vet tech programs, it could be the CBTEA skills, stuff like that.
Very good. So that basically kind of like, this is our meet and greet. This is kind of like the quick overview. I wanted to get everyone.
I just want to add a comment there to what Dr. Delisle said regarding the needs. And I think that's a really good starting point, because it's, we don't want to sort of spend time developing something and there's no market for it and no demand. So I like that, to start from a point of what the need is, what the market wants. And then we'll fall into among our team of 8 or 10, what are the skills we have and who can sort of form little teams within that to fulfill certain needs. So I like that approach. Yeah,
absolutely. And keep in mind that the teams will grow, but you guys are the founders. So we're probably going to end up with 20, maybe even 30 people working on this all together. So it's not just going to be you guys. It'll be larger than that. But this is the foundation. This is the starting point moving forward. So with that being said, I want to hear from you guys. Any questions, any comments? What are you most excited about? I know some of you made that those statements during the intro, but anything else you want to add to this meeting before we conclude it? Any questions?
I don't necessarily have a question, but I just wanted to put a comment in there that I am really excited, just because when I was developing curriculum for our veterinary assistant program, there's just not anything out there that's relevant, that's recent, that's not just technician geared and things like that. And I think the veterinary assistant programs are getting to be more and more prevalent. And I feel like there's definitely a need for material that we can use in the classroom. So I'm really excited to be able to share the curriculum that I have made and see what everyone else has idea wise, and help other programs grow.
And to
I
follow up-
also, sorry, go ahead.
And to follow up with that, Haley, you know, when I was teaching in the vet science high school program as an RVT, I saw a huge disconnect between the State Board of Education and what is being taught at the high school level and what's really feasible in a clinic setting, you know, and we as Texans didn't have a lot of curriculum available. There's like one or two. It was written by a DVM who's probably never done much tech work or high school teaching in their lives. And I just felt there was such a disconnect between the two. I really want people who are in industry to say, okay, when you come to me as a certified veterinary assistant from this high school program, I need to know that you know these things, because right now it's so uneven. I think the certification means nothing in the industry. Great, that means your high school ag teacher had you watch some videos, and I'm not impressed. We got to basically probably start from scratch. And so I really think that it's important that people who are going to be hiring and training the vet assistants in practice, but then also teaching it at the high school level. So I think we have enough people who are at, like, you know, the veterinarians who have experience with it, you know, LVTs like yourself who are in the clinic but doing the vet assistant, and then the high school teachers who are also teaching the vet science vet assistant. And that's, I think, why didn't somebody start it out like that from the get-go? You know,
Yeah,
like,
that's a good point, but it
advisory
comes,
committee should have
Yeah.
been the way that it started, but that's okay. That's all right.
but you know
We'll
what?
get
That's
there.
not the problem only in Texas. We've been to so many countries, and Ian can go on and on about this, but I'm not going to ask him to, because we experience this with many of the ministries that we work with in different countries and different states. And he's been speaking to the Texas legislation and all of that. So we're not even going to go there. But anyway, we can't hide from the fact that we have this elephant in the room, and that are the mandated standards. That is the mandated standards. They are mandated requirements, and we can't hide away from that. So while we have to fulfill those mandated requirements, we've got to be really careful to ensure that we fulfill that. So teachers like what we're doing, take that because they are fulfilling the mandated requirements, but at the same time, and we call this doing things in split screen. So at the same time, they are doing things the exciting, the innovative, and the creative way that, an engaging way that we can design this. So we want to bring the two together and make it so seamless that we're cultivating all of those things. We're doing it in this way, but at the same time, we're ticking all those standards as well.
Yes. And I want to build on to two points that you made there. First off, our goal is to, even though we're starting out small, is to then become the standard, then to become the certification as well. So that what we're producing here will be then the gold standard. And because the whole entire mantra is like made by teacher for teachers. It's like Dr. Lyle said, the certifications are a joke. But what we want to do is we want to elevate that, because as a collaborative body, then we have more voice, more power, and to go beyond that. But also on top of that is we have a possibility of an international audience as well. So we're not just building it for the United States and Canada. This will eventually go to multiple countries around the world, and then it could be also the gold standard for certification from what we are going to be producing. So it may seem small right now, but it's going to become quite amazing because we have amazing people here together. Anyone else have any thoughts, feelings, exciting perspectives that they like to offer? I really like the fact that we have high school and middle school represented here as well.
Yeah, because it's so relevant in all the areas. And I think that's where, when we talked about disconnect, that's what happens. having experience in all those sectors, I realized that, primary school, once kids go to high school, there's a complete disconnect, and they're like in a totally different world. Things completely change because they've been taught subjects, blah, blah, blah. And they, are so focused on getting those high school certificates. Then when they go into universities, like, you're so unprepared. What did you learn in high school? Like, it's a completely new world. And then we have, when they actually get out into the working world, it's like exactly what you said, what have you learned at university? Because, and I'll just give you an example of my son, and this will, he did his Bachelor of Business 3 years, did what do you call international marketing, digital marketing, worked for 5 years. And then he realized, because he did a lot of audits in schools with us, and he's like, you know what, I want to become a teacher. And Ian and I just shook our heads and we're like, oh my God, you want to become a teacher? And so he went and retrained, became a teacher. And the first day he actually stood in his classroom and said, Mom, I don't know what to do. And so I took a week off to actually help him set his class up. And then I realized, seriously, university, what they taught them about teaching, completely out of this world. They have no idea of what actually takes place in the classroom. So, what the university taught them and what he was faced with in reality was just didn't go together.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely a big disconnect in veterinary medicine, especially that's definitely relevant in assistant programs and technician programs. When I was in school, we had people who had no idea what it was going to be like once they got into practice, and they got to externship and panic. And our students now, like, we try really hard to integrate them into the field and like take them on trips and get them in the hospital as much as possible. But most of them have never been in the hospital. So we don't want them to come out and have no clue what's going to happen. So I think that this is the best route to really help. If we take all of our group experience to kind of get them ready, like, we meet the standards, but also we're going to create people who know how to do their job.
Yeah.
I will say that veterinary medicine is, I think, unique in that so many people identify with, I'm pre-vet, I want to be a veterinarian, but they literally have zero understanding about the profession. And most people couldn't tell you the difference between a veterinarian, a vet tech, a vet assistant. They truly do not understand, coming at teaching at the university level, all of these incoming pre-vet students, how many of them actually have any clue what this profession is about? I don't know if other professions have this issue. I really just been in education and veterinary medicine my whole life. I just know that we all
happens
feel
in every discipline.
we feel it so deeply. Like, people think you like animals, your job is to go be a vet, not what are the other ways that you can help and work with animals, because when I was a high school teacher and I had high school kids with 504s and they could barely pass their high school classes, let's be brutally honest, vet school is not in your path. It's just not. And so I find there's a lot of unrealistic expectations being communicated to students at the high school level that just continues to drag them to college and they don't do well. And then they've got nothing. They don't have a backup. Yeah. So I guess, I'm sure, the general trend is the dumbing down of our society, and most people don't even take the time to research the things that they want to do. I get so many emails, people want to apply to vet school here. I'm like, did you Google vet schools? Because if you did, you'll see that there's not a vet school here. So you didn't even take like that very initial
first step.
So I'm just very excited that, I don't know, I was in this unique position to be able to post on my, vet moms in clinical practice, my vet tech groups, my vet tech educator groups, my ag teacher groups, which, I'm not technically teaching ag, but I am in the ag department. So I'm still part of those. And I mean, that's all I really just want to wrap up and say. I think that right now we have the founding members with the qualifications that could literally help us produce every possible line of products out there that we could have. So I'm just super excited.
And I'm excited about the fact that, we're so aligned with our thinking and, we know what the issues are. Now let's just focus on the solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the point I want to make is that Nikki and my job is not to tell you what the content is. Our job is not to tell you the organization of it. Our job is to help you smooth it out, bring a flow to it so that it becomes something that conveys everything you want to convey, and it does it in a manner. It has a flow to it.
Yeah, and consistency. While we talk of consistency, it doesn't mean that it has to be, everything has to be the same. What we're talking when we say consistency, we mean by the look and feel.
Yes.
Got to be, you know, in a particular way, and that's about it. How your content is, the activities, that will vary, but you know, we'll have certain requirements like 2 videos or you know, 3 activities, and I'm just pulling this out of the air.
Yeah.
So that's the consistency we'll look at.
We're gonna say dream big, you know, because what we're doing is we're trying to make your dreams come true. Anyone else have any other you know, final thoughts of how you feel about this whole process here? I see a lot of smiles.
That's a good sign.
If you want, I
Yeah.
can share a very quick story. And part of the reason for me joining. So when I applied to vet school, in my vet interview, they said, what other jobs can you do besides your standard practice? They wanted to know that I had a depth of knowledge in terms of what's going on. So I just looked at her and said, well, I guess you could teach. And she just looked at me and said, why would you want to do that? And she's the teacher teaching me. And I was like, oh, this is going to be an interesting year if I get in. And so just kind of, I've always liked the idea of teaching and educating in vet med, and it's exciting to be a part of that process in a unique way. And hopefully I can change other instructors' minds on teaching and how they don't like to teach, even though they're teaching at the university level.
Are you teaching at a vet school?
No, I'm teaching in a vet tech college right now,
Okay.
but for my vet interview, we don't, so Canada has a very, very interesting setup for vet med, and I can educate you later more on it if you probably all want to go. But there's only 5 colleges in the entire country that teaches vet med, and depending on where you live, you can only apply to that college. So if you live in one Ontario, which is like the biggest province, you have to go to this one college. If you speak French, you have to go to this one college. If you live in Western Canada, you have to go to this one college, or in Alberta, they have their own thing. So it's very restrictive.
And that's why there's a lot of Canadians at St. George's University in Dublin.
Yes. Yeah. My cousin's doing vet school in Grenada, I think, right now.
Yeah, that's St. George's. Yep.
Yep, St. George. Yeah, he's there. He's finished his first year. He's loving it. So it blows my mind. But yeah, and there's such a shortage, but they still haven't changed that breakdown.
Interesting. Any
All
other
right.
comments? Awesome. Anything from the middle school? So,
I just think it'll be really cool to be able to break this down for a high school or middle school to teach. So I went through, when I kind of started to look at doing this, I looked at like the high school curriculum that we have in Georgia for vet med and for our veterinary pathways and stuff like that. And it's very, very broad, but then very basic. So which is where y'all are getting the disconnect, is what we're trying to teach. We don't have any information to go into depth. Does that make sense? Like, we have the basics, like the tools, the names, that kind of stuff, but we don't have any of the information to go into what y'all need them to know to go into those areas. So to give a teacher a resource to be able to be like, hey, this is what people want to know when we send these kids out into the field, which is what we do with all of our other pathways, whether it be ag mechanics or anything like that. I think it's really important that, you know, not only are we trying to give them something kind of like an outline of, hey, this is the stuff we want them to know, and then this is the information to go along with it. Because I mean, as much as teachers don't want to teach out of a textbook, if you give a teacher a textbook, it's going to show them how to go that route.
awesome. Awesome. Any comments from the high school realm?
I think we're really, a lot of times at high school, we teach so many different classes. Like in 1 year, I was teaching 8 preps in a 7-class period time. So there was class periods where I had multiple classes and multiple age students from 9th grade all the way to 12th grade in the same class period. And we're also very restricted on our time. We have 45-minute time for our class periods, but then you have kids involved in so many different activities and they're gone multiple days a week, whether it's for sports or for FFA or band or whatever it is. And so something like this is very flexible, that we can give our students and have them complete things on their own. It doesn't just have to be in the classroom, and we can direct them. And then one thing that we want to move more towards is having practicum class periods that are double blocked, to where our students can have that opportunity to go to industry, because we get those comments from industry people, whether it's our kids in Ag Mech that get this welding certifications. When they go to a business, yes, they have that welding certification, so they know that they at least have that basic knowledge, but they do recertify them in whatever certification that business requires. And there's so many different certifications across the board. It's like, how do you pick just one? Just in welding, there's, hundreds of certifications. So we're our hands are tied in so many different areas, and we're trying to teach our students and give them career paths that they can be on within our time periods and within our budgets. And there's just so many different restrictions that we have. So I think something like this will be a huge benefit to those students who actually are looking for a career path.
Great point.
Awesome. And actually, I want to hear Elizabeth. Does this sound like a much more fun process than what you were involved in before?
Yes, and it sounds much less tedious. It will be far less painful to try and put a really big project together, just by sort of spreading things out and making it equitable for everyone.
Awesome. Yeah. So definitely look at your experience and see what best ideas came from that, and try to incorporate that into this team model as well, because this is something that like Dr. Delisle is leading this, but this is going to be something that you will be making of this whole entire process as well. We're here to guide you. With my experience in digital publishing, we have the framework, so that's like over half the battle. The framework is there, and then the rest is just filling the buckets. And you guys are the bucket brigade in a sense. And we got to put out those fires out there. And Tina, even though you're a wildcat, I'll still work with you in that sense. So.
Well, I just want to be clear. I didn't actually graduate from any programs at Arizona. I just work there.
Oh, okay. So you're.
So I'm actually from Davis. I'm an Aggie. So there you go.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm a Phoenician myself, so went to Arizona State. Anyway, all right. Well, so we are very excited to have you all here, and this will be the beginning of something monumentous, and I can't wait to see what we all come together and produce. So, with that being said, thank you so much for your time. And we will definitely be in communication. We're going to figure out what the best platform is, and we will all be a part of that. And we're going to.
I will say that there will be still more emails still coming, because the survey and the doodles, all of that will be sent via email until we establish more better lines of communication here. But for now, continue to watch your emails from Dr. Delisle, HBC.
Well, maybe you could set up a text group text as well through through what's that, Remind or one of those other
I think smoke signals will probably be the best way to go.
Okay, there we go. Well, keep your eyes in the sky. All right, well then, thank you very much. I love meeting all of you, and we are all excited to work together on this.
Nice meeting you guys.
Thank you,
Talk
everybody,
soon.
for
Bye.
answering the call that I put out on Facebook.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks for answering the call.
Whew.